What is going on, PumpTalk Nation? Get ready, because the news cycle is absolutely exploding today, and we've got the inside scoop on everything you need to know, from intense competition down under to the latest in gaming and critical public safety alerts. You don't want to miss a second of this as we break down the moves, the strategies, and the real-world impact of these massive stories. From strategic blindsides to life-saving awareness, the world is spinning fast, and we're here to keep you on top of it all. Let's dive in. Survivor AU versus the world. The game is getting intense down under as strategic alliances are tested and bold moves are made. We're talking about a major player making a gamble that could change the entire season, and another contestant holding a significant advantage that's causing ripples across the competition. Who played whom, and what were the consequences? You'll want to see how this plays out. Karate Survivor launch trailer. Get ready to unleash your inner warrior. A brand new game just dropped, channeling all the high-octane energy of 80s action cinema. We've got the first look at the gameplay, the unique mechanics, and why this martial arts roguelite is about to take the gaming world by storm. Prepare for some serious combat. Survivor calls for methanol poisoning awareness. A harrowing story emerges from the travel world, highlighting a critical public safety issue. A survivor of methanol poisoning is speaking out, sharing their devastating experience and calling for urgent action to prevent future tragedies. We'll get into the details of what happened and what needs to be done to protect travelers worldwide. NFL Week 1 Survivor picks. It's football season, and for millions, that means Survivor pools. But forget the gut feelings and simple logic. We're diving deep into a data-driven strategy that could be the key to winning your league. We'll break down the analytics, the picks, and how to gain a serious edge over the competition. Don't get left behind. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and join the PumpTalk conversation. You won't want to miss what's next. Lisa's gambit falls short in intense Survivor showdown. In a recent episode of Survivor, Australia versus the world, the strategic landscape shifted dramatically following a chaotic double tribal council that saw Cass and Tommy voted out. The pace of the game notably slowed, with the remaining 6 contestants focusing on endgame strategies. However, for Lisa, this episode marked the end of her journey, as she found herself unable to navigate the shifting alliances and ultimately succumbed to the pressures of being on the bottom. The episode picked up immediately after the previous night's tribal, with Parvati and Janine debriefing the unexpected outcomes. Lisa, attempting to salvage her position, approached Parvati, asserting that she was not involved in the plan to blindside her. This claim, however, felt disingenuous given her prior tacit approval of the strategy against Tommy. Lisa then leaned heavily into the narrative of being on the outs, a stark contrast to her previous season where she reached the endgame with relative ease. She attempted to sow discord by suggesting to Parvati, within earshot of Siri, that Parvati was too big a threat to sit with at the final tribal. Her strategy also involved confronting Luke, identifying him as the second biggest threat. Luke, however, remained unconvinced, pointing to his own history of being on the wrong side of the numbers and Lisa's own admission that she wouldn't take him to the final tribal. The immunity challenge presented a unique twist on the familiar Samotion challenge. Contestants were tasked with dropping balls into a chute at the top of a staircase and then racing down to catch them. This iteration allowed for the use of both hands, a modification necessitated by the added running element. Shoni and Janine were the first to be eliminated, followed shortly by Lisa. Siri managed to reach the final 3 balls before being eliminated, securing 3rd place. The final showdown was between Luke and Parvati. For Luke, this challenge held personal significance, as he had previously lost a similar challenge in the Champions vs. Contenders season, a defeat that cost him a spot in the finale. This time, however, Luke emerged victorious, clinching his 2nd consecutive immunity win. With immunity secured and a hidden idol still in his possession, Luke's confidence surged. His most audacious move involved confronting Parvati about her knowledge is power advantage. Concerned that Parvati might use the advantage to steal his idol, especially after she had previously hinted at using it after votes were cast, Luke devised a risky plan. He confessed to Parvati that he had an idol and proposed that she destroy her advantage parchment as a sign of good faith towards their final 3 alliance. After some hesitation, and under Luke's persistent pressure, Parvati tore the parchment in half, giving one piece to Luke. While the official status of the advantage's nullification remained ambiguous, the exchange underscored the high stakes and the willingness of both players to take significant risks to build trust. Meanwhile, Lisa made a final attempt to stay in the game, proposing an alliance with Shoni to target Janine. Her rationale was to bolster Ciri's numbers heading into the final 5. Ciri seemed open to the idea, appreciating the flexibility Lisa offered. However, Parvati and Luke were less receptive. Parvati, still holding her unplayed idol, saw Lisa as more of a threat than an asset. At Tribal Council, Lisa defended her actions, reiterating her desire to avoid facing Luke or Parvati at the end and emphasizing her honesty. Parvati countered that deception can sometimes be the more strategic path, while Luke explained his need to target individuals he believed would not align with him. Lisa's parting words to the camera expressed her strong desire for Ciri to win. Ultimately, the votes were cast, resulting in Lisa's elimination with a 5-1 majority, her single vote cast for Janine. Her emotional farewell to Ciri highlighted her shift from a purely competitive player to a dedicated fan rooting for her friend. Lisa's departure highlighted her evolution from a strategic competitor to a superfan, prioritizing her admiration for Ciri over her own endgame. Her exit leaves the Australian players with a 3-2 advantage over the international contestants as the season approaches its climax, with alliances in flux and advantages still in play. Audience reaction to this episode was largely one of quiet frustration, with many viewers expressing disappointment at the predictability of the vote and criticizing the missed opportunity to target Parvati. The consensus was that keeping such a strong, proven player in the game, especially with immunity challenges likely to favor her, could prove detrimental. The discussion also focused on Ciri's chances of winning, with some believing she couldn't beat Parvati or Luke, while others argued that a jury composed of international players might favor Ciri's consistent gameplay over the Australians' more complex strategic histories. Many noted that Ciri has consistently been on the right side of the vote, a factor that could resonate with jurors. There was also significant agreement that Lisa's jury vote was likely secured for Ciri. Luke's bold move to force Parvati to destroy her advantage received mixed reviews, with some praising its audacity and its perceived protection of his idol, while others criticized him for revealing his idol at all. Parvati's decision to comply was seen by many as a shrewd social play that strengthened her position. The episode also sparked debate about Janine's perceived under-the-radar gameplay and Shoni's editing, with some seeing her as a quiet threat and others as an underdog. But what happens when strategy meets the digital arena? Get ready for a brand new gaming experience that's all about high-octane action. Unleash the fury. Karate Survivor hits Nintendo Switch. Prepare to channel your inner martial arts master because Karate Survivor, a brand new roguelite action game, has officially launched on the Nintendo Switch. This exciting title immerses players in the thrilling world of 80s action cinema, offering a unique blend of fast-paced combat, environmental interaction, and deep progression systems. The game's launch is accompanied by a dynamic trailer that showcases the core gameplay mechanics and sets the stage for an unforgettable arcade-style experience. Karate Survivor invites players to step into the shoes of a martial arts hero, battling through the gritty streets against waves of relentless goons and bandits. The gameplay emphasizes improvisation and creativity, encouraging players to utilize the environment and discover makeshift weapons to gain an edge in combat. Master new techniques, string together devastating combos, and adapt your fighting style to overcome increasingly challenging encounters. The core loop of the game revolves around surviving increasingly difficult waves of enemies, making each run a test of skill, strategy, and adaptability. As a roguelite, Karate Survivor promises a high degree of replayability, with randomized elements ensuring that no 2 playthroughs are exactly alike. Players will need to learn enemy patterns, master the combat system, and make crucial decisions about upgrades and power-ups to progress further into the game's challenging levels. The game's aesthetic and tone are heavily inspired by the iconic martial arts and action films of the 1980s. This influence is evident in the character designs, the urban environments, and the overall high-energy presentation. The developers have clearly aimed to capture the spirit of classic arcade beat-em-ups and action movies, translating that nostalgia into a modern gaming experience. The combat system appears to be deep and rewarding, allowing for a variety of playstyles. Players can focus on rapid-fire attacks, powerful special moves, or tactical use of environmental hazards. The survivor-like element suggests a focus on prolonged combat scenarios where players must constantly adapt and overcome overwhelming odds. This often involves managing resources, acquiring temporary power-ups, and making strategic decisions about which upgrades to prioritize to maximize survivability and offensive power. The launch trailer provides a tantalizing glimpse into the game's features. It highlights the fluid animations, the impactful sound design, and the sheer intensity of the combat. Viewers can see characters executing impressive combos, dodging enemy attacks, and using a variety of weapons, from traditional martial arts tools to improvised street weapons. The trailer also hints at a progression system, where players can unlock new abilities, enhance existing skills, and customize their character's fighting style. The roguelite structure means that death is not the end, but rather an opportunity to learn from mistakes and return stronger, armed with new knowledge and potentially permanent upgrades. This cycle of trial, error, and improvement is a hallmark of the genre and is expected to keep players engaged for hours on end. Karate Survivor is available now as a digital download on the Nintendo eShop. This release marks a significant addition to the Nintendo Switch's library of action and roguelite titles, offering a fresh and exciting experience for fans of both genres. The game is positioned to appeal to players who enjoy challenging combat, strategic progression, and a strong dose of retro-inspired action. Audience reaction to the trailer and the game's launch has been overwhelmingly positive, with many players expressing excitement about the 80s action movie theme and the promise of deep combat mechanics. Online forums and social media are abuzz with discussions about potential strategies and favorite character archetypes. Critics are noting the game's potential to stand out in a crowded genre by its unique thematic focus and its commitment to delivering a challenging yet rewarding roguelite experience. But sometimes, real-life dangers are far more serious than any game. We're turning to a critical public safety issue that could affect anyone traveling abroad. A matter of sight, Survivor urges global methanol poisoning awareness. In a powerful plea for public safety, a 23-year-old survivor of methanol poisoning is urging the travel industry and government bodies to amplify awareness of the deadly risks associated with consuming contaminated alcohol. Callum MacDonald, from Sunbury-on-Thames, who lost his sight after a devastating incident while backpacking in Laos, shared his harrowing experience with lawmakers and industry representatives, emphasizing that his condition could have been prevented with greater knowledge of the dangers. MacDonald was part of a group that fell victim to mass methanol poisoning in Vang Vieng, Laos. The incident led to severe health consequences, including complete vision loss. He recounted his time in a hospital in Vietnam, where he spent weeks grappling with the irreversible damage. "I was thinking, I'll be fine for the first week. It wasn't really until probably January or February, I think, when I found out that it was going to be really sort of a permanent, long-term thing," he explained, highlighting the gradual realization of the permanent nature of his injuries. Tragically, fellow traveler Simone White, a 28-year-old lawyer, died in 2024 along with 5 others from the same incident after consuming free shots at the hostel MacDonald had visited. Her family, represented by campaigner Amanda Dennis, joined MacDonald in advocating for change, stating, "All these youngsters have died unnecessarily, and it could have been so easily avoided if there had been more awareness, if there had been more knowledge, and if they'd had it taught in schools." The campaign calls for the government and the travel industry to implement more robust awareness measures, such as specific posters in travel hubs and announcements on flights. The Foreign Office, present at a recent parliamentary meeting, has updated its travel advice for Laos to include warnings about methanol poisoning, but has yet to commit to further action. McDonald stressed the importance of accessible information, noting, "I think it's important that people know obviously because it's quite a simple bit of information you can get that can really save you a lot of pain." He believes that had he been aware of the risks, his life might not have been so drastically altered. The government has acknowledged the issue and stated that the curriculum on personal safety, while drinking alcohol, has been updated to include information on avoiding poisoning from substances like methanol. APTA, the Travel Association, also in attendance at the meeting, expressed its willingness to collaborate, committing to share, travel-aware, campaign details with its members and explore avenues to amplify the message through educational partners and student representatives. The association also pledged to continue engaging with the Roundtable Group to provide updates on its activities. The next steps and specific initiatives resulting from this meeting are expected to be announced in the coming weeks, signaling a potential shift towards greater traveler protection. This initiative underscores a critical gap in traveler education regarding the specific dangers of methanol, which is often found as an additive in illicit or counterfeit alcoholic beverages, particularly in some tourist destinations. Unlike ethanol, drinking alcohol, methanol is highly toxic and can cause severe internal damage, blindness, and death even in small quantities. The campaign aims to equip travelers with the knowledge to identify potential risks, such as unusually cheap drinks or drinks served in unmarked containers, and to understand the importance of consuming alcohol from reputable sources. Audience impact has been significant, with the story resonating deeply due to its personal tragedy and the preventable nature of the incident. Social media discussions highlight a mix of sympathy for the victims and calls for stricter regulations and clearer warnings from travel companies and governments. Many travelers are sharing their own experiences or concerns about consuming alcohol abroad, emphasizing the need for greater transparency and safety protocols in the tourism industry. The campaign is seen as a crucial step towards ensuring that future travelers are better informed and protected from such devastating consequences. From the dangers of the real world to the strategic battles of the gridiron. Get ready for an in-depth look at how data can give you the ultimate edge in NFL survivor pools. Data dominance, your ultimate NFL Week 1 survivor strategy. As the NFL season kicks off, millions of fans are diving into survivor pools, often relying on gut feelings or simple rules of thumb like picking the biggest favorite or avoiding road teams. However, for those looking to gain a significant edge, a data-driven approach is paramount. This strategy moves beyond surface-level analysis, focusing on metrics like win probability, pick popularity, expected value, and crucial future planning to ensure long-term success and outlast the competition. The common approach for many survivor pool players during Week 1 is to play it safe, often gravitating towards the teams with the largest point spreads. Teams like the Denver Broncos, typically a strong home favorite against a non-division opponent, appear to be the obvious choice. However, data analysis reveals a more nuanced picture. While Denver might seem like a guaranteed win, its high popularity among casual players means that picking them could lead to a shared victory or an early exit if an upset occurs. The key differentiator for successful survivor players is understanding expected value, EV, which factors in both the likelihood of a team winning and how many other players are likely to pick that same team. A high win probability is important, but if a team is overwhelmingly popular, its EV might be lower than a slightly less favored team that fewer players are selecting. This is where the concept of future value becomes critical. Many players overlook the importance of saving strong teams for later in the season when the pickings are slimmer and the potential for upsets is higher. For instance, while the Philadelphia Eagles might be a strong favorite in Week 1, they are projected to be favorable picks in multiple later weeks. Using them too early could mean being unable to select them in a crucial future week when fewer options are available. Conversely, teams like the Arizona Cardinals, who might have similar win odds to the top contenders in Week 1, but possess limited future value due to fewer favorable matchups later in the season, could represent a smarter strategic play. Similarly, teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars, favored by a field goal in Week 1 and having limited future value could be an optimal choice in pools that allow strikes or buybacks. The challenge for players is to accurately combine these variables: pool size, specific rules like strikes or double pick weeks, pick popularity, future value, and weekly win odds without becoming overwhelmed. Tools like Pool Genius are designed to automate this complex process. By inputting pool specifics, these tools can instantly analyze vast amounts of data to provide a clear, optimized pick for each week. This data-driven approach helps players make mathematically sound decisions, moving beyond guesswork and luck. Since 2017, Pool Genius subscribers have reportedly achieved winning rates nearly 3 times higher than expected, attributing their success to this strategic methodology. For instance, identifying when the obvious favorite is also the most popular pick is a crucial decision point. Fading such a popular pick, even if it's a slightly riskier choice, can yield better long-term odds of outlasting the entire field. This strategy is particularly effective in large pools with thousands of entries, where outsmarting the majority is key. The system automates this by calculating the optimal play based on a combination of win probability, pick popularity, and future value, ensuring that players are not just surviving the current week, but are strategically positioning themselves for success throughout the entire season. Audience impact is driven by the desire to win these popular survivor pools, which often involve significant prize money. The article resonates with players looking for an edge, highlighting the gap between casual guessing and informed, data-backed strategy. Online discussions often revolve around the trade-offs between perceived safety and long-term strategic advantage, with many users expressing interest in the tools and methodologies presented for optimizing their picks. And that wraps up our deep dive into these major stories. Stay tuned for a quick recap and all the ways you can stay connected with us. And that's a wrap on today's breaking news. We saw strategic masterstrokes and surprising exits in Survivor AU, got a glimpse of intense 80s action with Karate Survivor, learned about a critical public safety warning regarding methanol poisoning, and uncovered the data-driven secrets to NFL Survivor pool success. Don't forget to like this video if you found it informative, subscribe to PumpTalk News for more updates, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode, and drop a comment below telling us your biggest takeaway from today's stories. You can also follow us on all our social media channels for even more content. We'll see you in the next one.